and thank you for joining us. Welcome to Mac News, the educational news channel aimed at bringing important information to teachers and parents just like you. I'm Jessica McAllister and we're reporting live. Now, I'd like to thank all the enthusiastic teachers and parents that have replied to our show from last week on same versus mixed ability grouping in the classroom. We were overwhelmed by your responses. This week's top story goes deep into the education of HSIE in our Australian primary schools. Now, primary teachers all over Australia have been abuzz about a new and exciting strategy being implemented into their primary school classrooms. They feel it is only now getting the recognition that it deserves. This strategy is known as inquiry learning or inquiry-based learning. But what exactly is inquiry learning and how do we use it in the classroom? Let's find out. Inquiry learning is
okay is alright with me. Some things are just meant to be. It never comes.
You get over 70 million hits. It must be important, right? We've narrowed in on two definitions that we feel explain inquiry learning quite well. The first is given by Paula Sincero, a woman who specialises in content-rich, inquiry-based distance learning projects which connect museums, classrooms and communities. Now, according to her, inquiry-based learning is a learning process through questions generated from the interests, curiosities and perspectives/experiences of the learner. When investigations grow from our own questions, curiosities and experiences, learning is an organic and motivating process that is intrinsically enjoyable. Sincero has also provided a diagram to represent just how inquiry learning works. As you can see, it's quite a cycle, no clear start or end. This is trying to prove to you, our audience, that this strategy is an important way for students to continuously be learning and reflecting. Now, the second definition that is slightly more credited to our focus of today, which is inquiry learning within HSIE, would be Ruth Reynolds, a noted expert in the field of HSIE and teaching pedagogy. In her second edition of her book, Teaching History, Geography and SOSE in the Primary School, Ruth explains that inquiry learning is where the student takes a large degree of control over their own learning, and so the learning is open-ended and the final outcomes are not always easy to predict. Now comes the tricky part. How does this strategy specifically relate to HSIE? Well, if we take a look at the New South Wales K-6 syllabus, in the rationale for HSIE, it describes the subject as focusing on developing inquiry learning skills and providing experiences that are meaningful for students, engaging them with actual people, places, and issues wherever possible. And important, again, is the mention of students analysing information and values, making their own responsible decisions about social, economic, religious, civic, and environmental issues that may affect them now or in the future. Furthermore, if we go deeper and into strategies provided to teachers on the Board of Study website and search for everything related to inquiry, there are 11 matches. As you read through the text, each match is describing inquiry learning, whether making sure that all lessons are related to and constantly referring to the overall inquiry the students are involved in, or in allowing the students to find relevant information through their own inquiry strategies. As a teacher myself, I would definitely be trying to incorporate inquiry-based learning strategies into my classroom as much as I can. Not only does it provide students with opportunities to build on their own social skills by working in their groups and develops their sense of independence for their own learning, but it also gives students a strong sense that their opinion matters, their interests are being looked after, their strengths and weaknesses are being catered for. Rather than being teacher-centered, where you as a teacher talks way too much and the students begin drifting off into their own fairy tale land, your classroom becomes very much student-centered, allowing your students to feel free to take control of their own learning. I am hoping you come away from this report with a greater understanding of what inquiry learning is and how it can benefit each and every one of your students. I will leave you with my favourite old Chinese proverb that I feel reflects upon inquiry learning in the classroom. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I'll remember. Involve me and I'll understand. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact our Facebook page or Twitter page. Thank you and good night, Australia.